Hey everyone, my name is William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to be doing another FSEconomy flight in the Diamond DA62 here in New Zealand. We're going to be departing out of Mora, flying to Alexandra. We're picking up 3 patients here and flying them there. So finally also a real airport with a paved runway for us to land at. So let's go ahead and get on into it. I hope you all enjoy. Welcome on board the Diamond DA62 here on the ramp here at Mora. We've already gotten a pushback from the lovely ground crew, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to start the aircraft up and start our flight. You can see our Diamond DA62 is available on the ground at Mora, so we're going to go in here and start our flight. You can see we're picking up 3 patients to transport to Alexandra, so we're good to go on that. With that set up, we're going to go ahead and start going through the process, like I said, of getting the aircraft ready to start. So we're going to open up both of the fuel valves here. So they are both open. Now then, come through and electric master on. So we got the battery on. We'll get our position light on. That way they know we're about to start our engine. Alternator left and right side on. And then master. And we can see the glow plugs, I guess, are kind of heating up here. So we'll wait for that to go off. And there it goes. And now we can crank the left engine. And we have left engine start. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle. And just make sure we got good oil pressure, oil temperatures on the climb. We do see we've got right around 15 gallons in the left and right tank, which is good. We put a little bit of fuel in here on the ground. It's a little expensive, but went ahead and paid for it here. That way we weren't flying on with just 20 gallons in the tanks. So we'll go through now and get the right engine ready for startup. So glow plug heating up. I'm gonna assume that's what that is. And we are good to go. So we're clear on the right and start. Right engine starts right up whenever you wait for those to kind of heat. And we got oil pressure and oil temperature on the climb. Oil pressure is going to start to drop, but it should be okay. We'll go ahead and get our taxi light on, avionics master on, and we'll throw our pitot heat on as well. Set the CDI up to GPS. PFD, let's get it on wind quickly. And then bearing will set to GPS as well. We've already got the information plugged into the GPS through setting it up in Flight Sim. So let's go ahead and taxi off the ramp here and start getting on our way towards Alexandra. It looks like we do have just a little bit of wind from the... you might want to watch out here, person. We might have a little bit of wind coming kind of from the northwest. So we'll go ahead and taxi down on the grass and turn around. It really does take a lot of power to move this thing around on the ground, but it's okay. So just taxiing out here onto, it's a grass strip out of here, so the entire taxi, we'll just hold the nose wheel, or hold back pressure. Do what we can to... Actually, you know what? It does look like it's not much of a headwind, so we'll just kind of line ourselves up here, and we'll get ready to go. Rather than taxi all the way down. There's 3 knots quartering. So we'll set our takeoff flaps in. Go ahead and give a little bit of positive trim. Go landing light on, and I'm sorry, I wanted my strobe light, not my position light, and I'll turn the taxi light off. Alright, so let's go ahead and increase our map range real quick. So we got a little bit of an idea of what's going on, and we'll set an initial altitude here of 6,000 feet in transponder on VFR and on. Alright. We're ready for takeoff. Today we're going to be rotating out of here at 80 knots. Climbing out, we're looking for right around 90. And we'll try and get our flaps up shortly after takeoff, kind of accelerating closer to 90, around 87 knots or so. So full back on the stick and full power. Wait for that power to come up. There it is, and we'll release the brakes. So as the nose wheel starts to kind of get light, we're just going to have to relieve the pressure and just hold it off of the ground kind of as we're rolling. So looking for the airspeed to come alive here. Airspeed is alive. There's the nose wheel. Just hold it up off the ground. Don't get too crazy. Looking for 80 knots. There we go. And airplane is up. So let's get our gear up. Same transition. Alright, gear is up. We're climbing out, and we have a positive rate and good airspeed. So let's go ahead and get our flaps up. Now we're heading basically directly to the south-southwest, but we have some big old mountains right over there right now, so we're going to fly kind of towards the east a little bit, get some altitude, and then actually swing it back around with a left-hand turn, because we got a lot of room over here towards our left to kind of play with, and try and get through towards the south a little bit easier. So we're just going to continue the climb up. We could get really aggressive with it. The airplane's quite light. Low fuel load and just a couple, like I said, patients on board. We're trying to get to Alexandria. So start our left turn now. Absolutely beautiful New Zealand countryside there out the left. Let's get back on and keep our situational awareness here. Our airspeed's a little high, so we can actually get even more aggressive with our climb here. So we're heading almost directly to the west now. Let's try and hold on a kind of southwest heading. Do about 240. You can see we're almost at the height of the terrain here off our left wing now, but not quite clear of it. If we keep going this direction a little bit further to the west, we should be able to kind of slot into this opening in the terrain and have plenty of room to adjust for whatever we need beyond that. So we can go ahead and increase our airspeed a little bit at this point. We're in a pretty decent state as far as our climb goes. I just want to make sure that we get them there quickly and somewhat smoothly, hopefully. Looks like we got a decent gap in the terrain. And we'll start our left turn out. Get a little bit more on course here. It does look like we have some decent weather directly towards the south of us. Also, a whole lot of cloud cover off to the east. So hopefully we'll be able to make it into Alexandria. If not, we know the weather's relatively clear back around here. And there's some big airports around our destination as well that we could potentially divert to if we have to. But we're going to try our best to get the patients in. So there's 6,000. We're just going to level here initially. Start to build our airspeed. We don't have very far to go. And we'll pull the power on back. For about 7 gallons an hour on the fuel flow. Trying to get a smooth ride would be nice, but I think we're going to have to go up to about 10,000 just to do that. But we got the gap now, so let's actually go for it. Let's go for a pretty drastic climb here. and try and get up above this layer. I don't know if this is the best idea. I might actually be changing my mind here. But it's quite bumpy down here. I just don't want a bumpy ride, but at the same time, it looks like if we kind of went off towards the east over there, we could drop through the mountains and be just fine. So yeah, I don't think we're going to make it above that layer and have a good time. So let's divert a little bit towards the east. We're really getting thrown around here. I don't know what that's all about. Since it is quite bumpy, we can't be getting up into that yellow range. It's very jarring turbulence. It's just on and off. So we'll do 6,500 feet. And we will go, we'll divert a little bit towards the east to avoid that big mountain range kind of directly in front of us. Fly through the lower bits that are kind of just off of our right wing at the moment. It is very stunning, I will say that. Makes me want to watch Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure exactly where in New Zealand the majority of those movies were shot, but this is definitely making a strong case for somewhere around here. Go ahead and throw some power back in. We're slow, so hopefully the turbulence isn't so bad. Now we're kind of coming off of this ridge line here. We're really close to it, but whoa. Yeah, we're flying over a pretty decent chunk of terrain directly below us right now. It's going to get a little bumpy right here. We'll just kind of hold 170 on the heading and fly around this range off to our right. It's it basically looks like it kind of tops out around 7,000, a little bit more than 7,000 feet. So we really would have had to climb well above those clouds to have a shot at it. And I just don't think that would have gone that well for us. Especially it's a little bit cooler here today, and I don't want to get involved in any kind of icing. Don't want to give anyone a bumpy ride, but at the same time, I actually want to get them there, so. Take a look out over the nose. Go ahead and get our landing light off at this point. Okay, so it looks as though going back towards the south, we're going to have some more terrain kind of pop up. To really kind of figure this out, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and set our heading on our current heading. And we'll go flight director on. We'll throw it into heading mode and autopilot on. Now let's go ahead and set up our altitude for 6,500. And we'll vertical speed down to it just very slightly so it'll capture. Now let's take a look at our map and kind of multitask here for a moment. That's the wrong way on the map. And so it looks like offsetting towards the east, you can see the terrain, it gets a little bit lower. So we'll just kind of offset to this and then start to fly a little bit more south-southwest once we kind of get out over this clearing out here. We're going to have a little bit of terrain, a little bit more to fly over, but not a whole lot. So Let's just hope that this isn't lying to us too much. And we can kind of get into this lower terrain and just follow it all the way in. And like I said, if we need to divert somewhere, we can always go to, I believe that's Queenstown, something like that. We can always fly into there if we absolutely have to, but the goal is to get the patients to the airport. So it's still a little bit bumpy, but much less aggressive than it was, which is just fine with me. So I'm really glad we're not in that stuff off to our left. It's kind of why I wanted to do this flight today. It looks like the weather's gonna be getting bad in this area, at least from the limited amount I looked at it. So we need to kind of get back to a little bit more normal situation. So we can go ahead and kind of cut to the right, fly directly south at this point. And just kind of keep paralleling this ridgy terrain there. It looks like the alternate option for us would have been to cross over and kind of follow this down through. But that would have put us crossing over a pretty decent chunk of elevated terrain as well. So I mean, it's great up close at all these awesome mountains and everything as well. Alright, so I think we are kind of safe enough to turn a little bit more directly on course now. You can see that's almost heading of 205 at the moment, following the bearing needle there. So let's go ahead and come right to 200. We do have one paved runway available to us at the airfield. It's going to be 1/4 tree 2. So I think with the wind we've kind of been seeing, we're going to plan for runway tree 2. So just kind of do a direct entry into a downwind, basically something along those lines, coming up to the airport. If that still seems like the best option, but that's going to be our initial plan. We're just about 23 miles from the field now. Air's a little bit smoother, so we can bump up the power a little bit here and try and get a little bit more airspeed out of it. Doing about 165 knots across the ground, not too bad. Pretty decent wind though out of the northwest. Hopefully that means it's kind of keeping that weather at bay. That looks real nasty out there. Whole lot of cloud cover. Bad weather and terrain like this, you know, like this isn't so bad, but on out over there, that'd make for quite an interesting flight. I think we can go ahead and come on over a little bit more and kind of get direct on course. It does look like it's almost 205. We're going to have to offset because of that wind blowing us off course slightly. So we'll put the aircraft pointing 210 and see how well that does at getting us directly on course. And we'll take over from the autopilot here before too long. Don't stop letting it have all the fun. Just want to get a little bit more understanding of kind of where we're going. So the field isn't too far off in front of us here, and I think it's going to be before this terrain starts to kind of pop back up, so it should be kind of in view. Just 18 miles off now. It's kind of, if you can see here on the map, it looks like it is on the northern side of this little river that's kind of running off towards the south of it. So if we fly past that, we've gone too far. Not that I think we will, with all these avionics to kind of help us out. But if we're this close, we're going to go ahead and start heading down. Since we're going to be in the approach phase, we'll go ahead and throw the fuel pumps on and start our descent. Go ahead and get our landing lights on as well. Just about 5 minutes out of the airfield, so we can keep our speed up at this point. And just a pretty shallow descent. Let's take in some more of those mountain ranges off there. There are some clouds here at our level, but fortunately it looks like it's pretty clear around where we are at the moment. So while we're kind of just descending and not really having to worry about too much, let's go ahead and set up in our heading bug runway heading of 320. Kind of help us out. So you can see, you can kind of imagine with this heading bug, the runway runs kind of that way. So in between the 140 mark over here and all the way to 320. So it'll almost be side on to us for us to spot. Not that it's a huge runway, but it is paved at least, so it should help me out a little bit more than the last couple airports we've been to. I hope you all have been enjoying these flights as well. For you guys that are watching them and commenting, liking the videos, I really do appreciate all the support, and I hope you're enjoying these. I love doing these flights. FSEconomy is a lot of fun. I hope they get their situation sorted soon for the new accounts, so and get a little bit more involvement. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Keeping the eyes peeled for an airport. Right now this kind of looks like something, but I can also see down here that's that river that we are kind of seeing on the map, and it looks like there might be a little bit of something down there. Just kind of have to wait and see. I'm pointed right at the airport right now, and it's definitely making a strong case for it being all the way up there. It's 7.5 miles off the nose. We could go ahead and help ourselves out here and decrease the map in a little bit more. So that's interesting. You kind of decrease the map in, you can see these even smaller waterways. So there's one that's going to be just off to our left, which I think you can kind of see down there. And it snakes all the way into the field, basically. And it looks like that is right there. So let's see if that's right. See if my interpretation of that is correct anyways. And the wind still does seem to be coming from the northwest. Almost actually looks like it's coming from about 330. It's kind of gusting around a little bit, but mostly from 330, which is almost going to be a direct headwind for us. For runway 32, so that is definitely still going to be our plan. A nice fast approach here into the airport. Let's take another look on the zoom. Yes, that definitely does look like a runway to me. Alright, so take a look at the numbers down here on the flap setting. We can get our takeoff flaps out at 136 knots, landing flaps at 119 knots. We can actually extend our gear well above the normal airspeeds I would ever fly this aircraft at. So we can go ahead and throw our gear down, get it in transition, and confirm it is down. Alright, gear is down and locked. We'll pull the power out, and we're going to go for a left turn here. Get to about 136 knots, and we'll just kind of try and hold around 136. So getting our flaps out and everything is good, but our final approach speed today, something we just want to kind of reference, that way we know what we're looking for. It's going to be right around 90 knots. So we're putting that tree 20 heading directly on our tail. Take a look at the left there. That is definitely the airport. And we need to continue coming to the left a little bit, give ourselves some more room. We'll go ahead and go take off flaps now at this point. You can see the airfield out there directly next to us. We're going to extend out a little bit more. We do have this terrain in front of us. This looks marvelous, really. Look at that city down there as well. So cool. We'll go landing flaps. And start our turn in. And keep the speed up a little bit until we start our final. I don't want to be that slow while we're still kind of turning and getting ourselves established here. Let's keep some airspeed just in case something happens. And this airport does look like it's elevated right on a ridge, so let's just keep that in mind for wind shear of any kind coming off of that terrain, but it should be blowing at us, so we should be okay. It's keeping our airspeed in our kind of left eye here, and visual on the runway with our right. Just go ahead and turn our final now. Let's start pulling the power back. Get our airspeed down. It's a little late turn to final, but it's okay. We gave ourselves room to kind of correct for that. That's a pretty late turn to final, actually. Alright, airspeed's right around 100 knots. So let's pull the aircraft, pitch it back a little bit, and set a good glide slope here on final for runway tree 2 left, I believe. It's a little bit of shear there, kind of coming over that cliff. Alright. Welcome down back to a nice paved runway here. Plenty of room as well. This is a really cool looking airport. Beautiful mountains up there. We can go ahead and turn our fuel pumps off. And we will start just gently slow the aircraft down. We'll get ready to turn around here to back taxi to the taxiway and onto the ramp. So I shouldn't have stopped because this thing's going to take a lot of power to turn around. But we did anyways. Let's get the aircraft cleaned up. So flaps up. Throw our taxi light on. Kill the pitot heat. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the flight. Just a short little flight here, just trying to hand fly it, use autopilot a little bit. I think we made the right decision going off to the east instead of trying to climb above that cloud layer. Especially with the air temperature outside and everything, I really didn't want to get into an icing situation, but able to make it in fairly quickly as well to get the patients here. We just gotta park up and get them offloaded. I think we'll try and keep the Diamond out of the grass and dirt runways for a while. I really do prefer a nice paved runway. Some of those places are really cool though. Just maybe not for the Diamond. So it looks like we got a ground crew waiting over here for us, along with some other aircraft. And it really does take a lot of power to get this thing moving on the ground. Alright, we are parked up. I'll go ahead and set the parking brake, which is going to complete the flight in FS Economy. So you can see here now our flight window is closed. And our information, the aircraft is on the ground, awaiting our next flight. We'll go through and start getting the aircraft shut down. So we already have all the lights off except for the strobe lights. We can go ahead and click off the avionics master. Both the fuel pumps are off, so we can go right master off and close the fuel. Fuel's on cutoff. And now then left. And Microsoft's going to say, congratulations, you completed your flight. Thank you very much. Alternator off, and we could go ahead and go strobe off, battery off, and then close the fuel valve as well. So everyone, that was a short little flight here in the Diamond. I've really been enjoying doing these FS Economy flights, like I said. Thank you all so much for the support, the comments, the likes, the views, all you guys that are actually watching these videos. I really do appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. I like being able to share this with you guys. So hopefully we'll find another job to a decent airport here in New Zealand before too long. And until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.